Hello guys, welcome to my next video. We are nearing almost to the end, and in this journey we have learned routing in Angular, and today's video's topic is wildcard in Angular routing. So what does that mean? I will explain all of that wildcard concept of wildcard and also how we can implement this wildcard in our application. As always, I have added my code in GitHub handler. You can just see from the link in video's description and download that code, and you can experiment all of this setup from the video, and you can just experiment on your own too. You can just run that code on your local machine and you can code along with me. So now if we see our application, so that is working fine so far, and we have different components that is set up and those are working pretty fine. But do you ever wonder, if we click on something and in the URL if we write something, that path does not exist? For example, I have written something and I have got the error in console log. So this is the concept how we can handle all these kind of undefined URLs in our application, and these are basically called wildcard routing in Angular, and we have to set up 404 page so that if any URL is hit and any component or any route which does not exist or which is not defined in our routing component or in our routing module, so we immediately redirect our control to 404 page or the page not found. Instead of triggering error, we have to handle this situation and we have to display this information that page is not found. So how we'll do that? In our app module, here we are going to include that wildcard routing setup. Before we do that, we are going to create a new component called page not found, and for creating this component I am going to use Angular CLI. As you guys know, Angular CLI is a very powerful feature in Angular, and we can generate all the components, HTML, TypeScript file, spec file, all of these files we can create from command line. So I am going to open terminal here from this app section. I am going to open terminal. Now I am going to type a command ngGC, G for generate, C for component, and then I am going to add name of component, page not found. When I hit enter, you can see all these this component have been created and the folder have been added in our project repository, and all these files have been injected automatically. Now we have to just link this component page not found to the undefined URLs, to the undefined other 404 pages, and how we'll set up that, let's try that. So in the HTML I am going to write information about page not found. This page is not found, and here in our app module I am going to include another route for that. So let's say when we write something, it should automatically load page not found component. So there's one thing which you should notice, that when I added this page not found, it is automatically imported in the file, and also here in declaration it got added automatically. So this is compulsory. Whenever we inject any component in our routing setup, we have to import that in that file. Like in this file we are doing that in app.module.ts, and also we have to add that in declaration array. So that is done automatically, and now we have set up that. If we try that now, if I write here something, it should display me the information that this page is not found. I have just removed the error. Now if I reload that page again, I see this information and there is no error in our CLI. So this is how we can set up this page not found, and we can use that in all different undefined URLs. So for now we have just set up that for something URL, but as you guys know, we cannot predict what kind of URLs are gonna hit in this application. So we have to make something generic which should work for all undefined URLs. How we can do that? Let's try that. So now in this application, if I am going to include another URL called not found, and there's two things in this routing setup. One is whenever we define a path, we can specify the name of component, like I have specified here the component name is page not found. Another thing is we can redirect to any other existing route. So we do not have to specify name of component. We can use another attribute and we can redirect our control to another component, to another route in the application. So here if I put this not found at the top, and if I want to redirect something to any other component, so we can do that here. There's a feature in Angular, redirect to, and here I am going to specify the path or the URL of that route where I want to redirect my control and I want to display that information. So now if you see my screen, if we hit page not found in the URL, if we hit that URL, that will load page not found component and the information. But if we load something in the URL, if we type something in the URL, our control should be redirected, and in the URL, instead of showing something, we should show not found. So let's try that. If I hit not found, you see that information page is not found. Whenever I write something here, when I hit enter, it should not load this something component or something. It should change the URL, it should redirect the URL to not found and display the information. So please notice that when I hit enter here, it automatically redirects the control and in the URL gets automatically changed. So this is how we can make this wildcard route generic. How we are going to make it generic? There's feature in Angular, instead of typing this something, we can use two wildcards, hysterics. So these, whenever these hysterics we have added in the application, so automatically if there's any undefined URL which we hit in the application, it will automatically redirect the control to page not found route, and the URL will get changed automatically, and the information which will display in the application, that will come from the page not found HTML file which we have written in here. HTML file, for now we have written this page is not found. We can write anything and this information will show up whenever we try to hit some these kind of URLs which does not exist. So let's try that. Now instead of typing page not found, I'm going to type any random string. So basically the string I have typed, this does not exist in app.module. This path we did not define. This is something came from some other resource, and this is something random. And when I am going to hit enter, you see the automatically control have been redirected and URL gets changed and the URL is not found, and also the information in the HTML page has also been updated, and now it is saying this page is not found. So guys, this is how we can set up wildcard routing in our Angular application. So we have made it generic. Now it will work for all kind of URLs which does not exist. If you see my screen, all these URLs, basically we have defined that these URLs exist. Whenever I write servers here, it should not go to page not found. It should load the servers component because we have registered that route. And let's try that. You see, server component and the data have been loaded. But whenever we write something which really does not exist, like server 123, that URL we did not define that. When I hit enter, it will redirect to not found page, and we have made it generic also. So there's one important thing to learn and to understand about this wildcard routing setup. Important thing is the order how we add this wildcard in a routing application or in a routing setup. This is very important to add this wildcard at the bottom of all the routes. And if we add that at the top of it, or if we add that in the middle of a routing setup or something, then it will break the application. It will not load any other route, because this sequence of this import or this array or the object which we have defined is very important. So wildcard route should be set up at the bottom of all this array, because it will load at the very bottom if first of all control will try to find the match through all the routes we have defined. If it could not find any match, then it will go to not found. If it found something, then it will load that component and the rest of the execution will be stopped. So this is very important, that the order of this wildcard route matters. It should be defined at the bottom, at the as a last object in the routes array. So guys, this is how we can set up wildcard routing. We have learned a lot in this application, in this journey of Angular routing. Stay tuned. In my next videos, there's a lot more coming up in my next videos, and you have great opportunity to learn and also code along with me. So guys, don't forget to subscribe my channel so that you can get notified all the time whenever my new video is uploaded. I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you.